Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to BodyWork Boxing. And I'm back again with my main Apple Scrapple. You know what I'm saying? From New Jersey, my man King Amin of Essex. And we just gonna chop it up real quick, man. We was gonna do some reaction, but we just was excited about boxing. Said that you know what I'm saying, we gonna burden y'all with our voices one more again and give our little 2 cents. What's up, King?
Everything's good, man. Everything's good on my end, man. Salute to everybody out there on this good day. This is the day that the boxing gods have made for us. So let's get to the blessings, man. One thing in particular, I got to get right to it because, I'm a big proponent of women's boxing. You've been helping to, usher, right? Follow me, right? Boxing gods, you've been helping me to usher in this era of women's boxing. We've been talking about this whole thing of misogyny, are they preying on women's aesthetics, right?
Right.
And we saw the build up now, the build up to this fight. And everybody, I'm talking about Shannon O'Connell versus Ebony Bridges, bantamweight division action. This is happening on the undercard of the Josh Warrington and Luis Alberto Lopez main event out of Leeds on the Zone. This card is not just about what we've seen. We're going to talk about what we've seen, but what I know beforehand is that they're both from Australia. Both of these women seem to have had an issue as far as how they represent themselves outside of the ring. Shannon O'Connell's a little bit more modest, it would seem. Feels like
Right.
she's the more sporty professional of the
Mm-hmm.
two. She's
Mm-hmm.
referred to Ebony Bridges as a novice, despite being a world champion, almost Jake Paul in there in a sense, for what I say. In Ebony Bridges, we have the blonde bomber, as she's known, as making her home in Leeds, a second home to her. She's been in there with Shannon Courtney, who was on the undercard of this whole thing. And it's kind of her angle is definitely the beauty of it, the beauty of
Yeah.
the sport, and whatever beauty she presents to those that find it appealing. I want to let you in, man. What you thinking?
Man, the first word I came to mind is lust, man. It's a very fine line. You know what I'm saying? Some people could teeter-totter that line when it comes to lust. You know what I'm saying? And as far as getting eyeballs on screens, garnering attention, she does that. You know what I'm saying? You can't come to the weigh-in, looking and doing and being so revealing, and then open up a conversation because we had misogyny, piece earlier, which I thought was a masterpiece. You know what I'm saying? So I think that she's doing a good job with the eyeballs and all that, and she definitely going to have people tuning in. Whether they're going to be trying to really see her box or not, we don't know. But you know what we all about? We all about what she do inside the ring. I don't know much. You know what I'm saying? But I look forward to seeing her do her thing.
Well, look, as they say in Jamaica, I'm skinning teeth, right? I'm skinning my teeth at the galaxy, right? So let me
Yeah.
let me say what it is, bro. And first of all, that was flesh tone. That was a flesh fabric underneath. I had to look at it real closely because I thought she had him out there, man.
Yeah.
She makes Eddie Hearn's job very difficult to stand behind her and go through these whole antics. And after a while, it becomes entertaining because it's like also she was advertising. Remember the business model? She's advertising her OnlyFans, whatever
Mm-hmm.
kind of exclusive content. She's about her business. And when it comes to the boxing part, you said you were maybe not as familiar in the ring. I'm gonna bring us to some familiarity. Like I said, she's came stateside to get some work in Philly. She fought Shannon Courtney, and that was a draw. The initial fight. I think there was one opponent she did have that I actually thought that the opponent won the fight,
Mm-hmm.
but as in what Matchroom does, they can't match her in against nobody that if they're not ready to give up the cachet that she's built, because by no means I'm saying I respect her intensity, I respect her ability, but in a way she needs a lot of time if she was to fight, say, like some of these former Olympian fighters. Bantamweight is a deep division sneakily, and I'm not saying she's not ready. I guess the other part of it is that suppose you are a skilled boxer and you in there against her. Because the bantamweight division, we thought it was going to be Jamie Mitchell. Now it's Nina Hughes. Nina Hughes is definitely a former Olympian. She just kind of like missed her window of
Hmm.
opportunity. So
Hmm.
now she's back to regain footing. So you talk about experience. She is one of those fighters that would hold an advantage. I think O'Connell holds a different type of advantage, both with the height and also with the experience over Bridges. So Bridges is really, it's no surprise that they're building this fight in her adopted hometown. Let me reiterate that. Because if it goes to the scorecards, now Bridges do got pop. Let's say that too. She got power. She can stun her opponent. She can rock her opponent. She can keep her opponent honest. Because if you boxing and you jabbing and you're not keeping her off of you, she got
Hmm.
a Mexican style for you. If you can't keep Bridges off of you, then that's the kind of activity, that's the kind of pressure that might give, judges the kind of mind to go with her over whoever her opponent might be. So it's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, she just got to seal the deal now. You know what I'm saying? Because it's good. It's one thing about when you oversell. I mean, I'm not even gonna say that's oversell. When you do an excellent job of garnering all that attention and getting people to come out and see, now you got to handle business. You know what I'm saying? Her opponent, from what I saw, she looked cool, calm, and collected. You know what I'm saying? Which could be nervousness, which could be a lot of being in her mind, or she could just be focused and ready to shut all that noise up. So we're gonna see. I definitely gonna get your take about it after it goes down.
Yeah, man. And listen, this is going to be one of those fights. I think right away it's going to set the tone. This is almost like kind of got. I hate to just use the dichotomy, but it's like difference in analogies. You might think it's different. You might think it's Martin Luther King nonviolent and Malcolm X more militant. You might think it's overtly sexual versus pure boxing athlete. But ultimately, it boils down to the one philosophy, which is boxing. Both of these women are fighters. Both of these women feel like and do deserve to be in the position they're in. And thankfully, they have not just us in popular opinion to sort out
Hmm.
who's the best between the two of them. They got that squared circle to sort it out. So what we
Yep.
say and what we think and how she sells it and how she opposes it, none of that matters when they lined up against each other. So
Right.
this is it, man. I love it, man. I love it. I think this card is kicking off at 4 o'clock. I hate that they gave us the before the bell so early because now they're doing the replay of it, man. That kind of threw me off, man.
Yeah, it threw me off, man. That's why I had my timing at a certain time, and I was like, man, I'm sitting there like, did I miss something? I'm in the twilight zone because the last time I was watching the zone, right? I was stuck watching something. I said, why are they still showing this? And I was out of the loop because I didn't come up out of the that app. Like I didn't come up out of that one selection I had made. So I missed it. And I was like, dang, I came right in on like the third round of a fight, one we were supposed to be watching. I was like, dang, so I don't know why they did it so early. It kind of threw me off because I'm sitting up there ready to go. I was riled up.
And
But
what if you lose viewership like that, right? Like, what if you got people thinking maybe you drew in the casual somehow, anticipating to see that Bridges O'Connell, right? But then you like, oh, it didn't go down, or it must have happened already. So now you're not gonna look for it the second time. The zone, don't shit the bed, man. Don't do that. You got to
yeah.
tighten up a little bit.
Yeah, they rocking and rolling, a little small little snafu, but they want to continue to do that thing, man. I'm kind of, you got me kind of like leaning off. I ain't on Eddie and a lot of Eddie moves, I ain't really on them and what the zone doing. I'm kind of like, they kind of won me over a little bit with the direction they're heading, especially with women's boxing and me getting to see all my favorite fighters from across the pond. You know what I mean? Ingratiating myself with that culture because I'm trying to go over there. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to
Yeah.
go over there one of these days. But let's continue on to something else, man. You a Bud advocate. You're a Bud advocate. They had the weigh in. Did you have any thoughts about the weigh in or any of the preliminaries leading up to this? This event tonight.
Nah, man. It's a funny thing is, man. Shout out to Instagram for hating on me. They won't let me put no captions on my post. Not even a hashtag. They don't want me to get no reach. I guess my arm's too long, man. But um, yo, I saw people that they didn't like some of the tactics that I guess they some of Bud's crew, some of the entourage. They was messing around with Avanesian at the press workouts and whatnot. it's all fair game. You saw what happened with Tio and his dad, and Cambosis and his dad. For me, it's all. I mean, even going back, I hate to sound like one of them guys, but Muhammad Ali used to storm your public, workouts. You know what I mean? Talking his talk. You know what I'm saying? Him and Bundu. You know what I'm saying? So, um,
Just a little
I
heckling.
don't from it, and I don't listen. A lot will be said about this fight because we know what the outcome is already going to be. It's kind of predetermined, like wrestling, right? Like sports entertainment, right? But at
You
the
think
same
so?
time, go ahead.
You think it's predetermined?
I
I mean,
mean, to a
everybody pretty
degree,
much saying it's in the bag.
I'm saying it's in the bag because I think Bud, no matter if we think it's a fight that's predetermined, he's going to fight like he got something to prove. But in that of itself is a way of predetermined. You know what I'm saying? Because when he go out there and treat every opponent, it's like I was talking to one of my friends the other day, and he said, "Yo, if somebody threatened me, I treat everybody like a gangster. If you say it, I'm gonna treat you as such. I'm gonna neutralize the threat, whatever that means. And if you wasn't about that, you should have never presented yourself as such." David Avanesian is presenting himself as such. You know what I'm saying? He signed a contract, and Bud is going to I think he treats every opponent that way. He treated Felix Diaz that way. If anybody even cared who to remember who he was, it's just I'm just looking forward to the opportunity that this fight presents because I don't have the door closed on whatever else is out there. Do I think it's a fight with Charlo? Nah. Even if I sold it, do I hope it's the fight with Spence? Sure. But if
Mhm.
Bud Crawford is still active, then he's still active, Out there will be a point where it dries up, but then maybe, do people want to see Bud Crawford and Yordenis Ugas? Or people going to say, nah, we know how that's going to end up. I don't know. So, I mean, whatever's out there for him is whatever's out there for him. And tonight, David Avanesian is out there for him, man.
Would you say he just got a puncher's chance, or is it more because you had mentioned I didn't know that he had beat Josh Kelly, and Josh Kelly looked impressive. And again, coming over from the championship round, we talked about it. I don't know if what we saw in Josh Kelly was the opponent he was facing, or some things that Josh Kelly had worked on, up until that fight. But Josh Kelly looked pretty impressive, and you told me that Avanesian, what I'm saying, was able to beat him. So is it a puncher's chance, or do he really, does he have a shot?
I think he has a legitimate shot because he has a puncher's chance. Plus, he's got some experience. I mean, the man, let me put it to you like this. If anybody saw what Hank Lundy did last night against Shenard Bunch, 23-year-old young lion, 38-year-old old veteran, Shenard
Mm-hmm.
Bunch roughed him up, dropped him early in the 4th round. Guess what? Hank Lundy, 8th round, put him down because he used that veteran savvy. Yeah, now the fight, obviously Shenard Bunch won, but if you're watching that fight, you already understand they tried to bring in Lundy as an opponent, but that man, them old stakes be tough as shit. You get what I'm saying? And Lundy was in there very tough. And again, how does that factor? Avanesian, he has a similar chance, he's a fighter. What you think that man is? He's a fighter. And despite what we think about money, money may not mean that much to him. You know what I'm saying? He's a fighter, and I'm sure he's got pride and ego just like anybody else. And he probably feel like being brought in as an opponent. Sure, whatever. Everybody thinks I'm going to try to fight, rough. I might a little dirty boxing if I can. He going to do what he can to try to pull one out. And we know Bud, he likes to try to give us an entertaining fight. No matter what you think of the opponents, if they're not supposed to be in there with him, he makes sure he let us know they're not supposed to be in there with him.
But let me draw from so we always be correlating everything to this music industry. In the great words of Eminem, you better lose yourself in the moment you own it, you better never let it go. You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. Polynesian sauce, man. You gotta do your thing, man. You can upset the apple cart. We don't think it's gonna happen, but because Bud is a killer, he like to get touched on the chin a little bit like Tank before he turned all the way up. In closer, he's in my boxes to watch, so I don't expect nothing less. So yeah, draw from Eminem like Ugas did when he did that to Pacquiao. You got to be like water, Polynesian sauce, Avanesian. I mean, respectfully, but A couple little things, we saw some jaw jacking with Keyshawn. Keyshawn was talking on Jamel Charlo. He from the DMV, and I had Keyshawn's back when the Bill Haney stuff went down, and I think it's part of the social media thing because earlier I saw T.O. jaw jacking with Spence. I'm like, man, T.O., man, I'm always in your defense, man. Don't make it so hard because I'm gonna have to come for you. What's up? Is this just the new era? Is this the way the market fights? Or what's going on? Pull my
Yeah, I
coattail.
think unfortunately they view it as marketing, but for me, it's exposure, and I think it's overexposure. It exposes you to the point of people think that they doing the whole bad guy thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, what tune in and keep hating me, and hate me now kind of thing. But I think you end up detracting from people even wanting to tune in to even hate you. So let's just talk about Keyshawn real quick. If I'm just being honest, man,
Mm-hmm.
you got to get something on you first. You got to get some like he down with the team, and it's like that's the kind of cat we go out. He gonna get us into something, and we ain't gonna let him get turned up, right? We ain't gonna let him get tuned up. But when we get into the car, we're gonna bark on him because he
Yeah,
done
we
got
gonna
us in something.
Yeah, that's when you gotta take baby bro behind the woodshed and have what in the army we used to call it wall to wall counseling. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? That's what we gonna have to do. But I understand the ride or die. I understand the being down and everything. I just wanna caution Keyshawn. You're very verbal. You're not nervous in front of the camera. You have composure. You know what I'm saying? You're a bright guy, lots of energy. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes less is more, especially when you're unproven and you don't want to alienate yourself because I'm not going to say no names, but it's a current undisputed champion who once came out and said something about skills pay the bills. And because the person that he said something about was of the magnitude that they were, everybody put crosshairs on him. And it kind of, on the internet, and in any boxing talks, Jamel Charlo was getting shitted on because of it. Take that as a lesson. T.O., take that as a lesson as well. You don't want to really be jaw jacking with nobody that you really don't know that you can't get in the ring with or you wouldn't be able to do it. Like talk your smack, make your little posts or whatever, but until you really stamp yourself, you know what I'm saying? Let your resume be equivalent to the amount of shit that you're talking. Because
and
what'll happen is you'll have advocates like myself. I'm an advocate of him. He's from the DMV area, Norfolk area. I try to support my guys, but when you do things like that, you'll be waiting and you'll have people waiting to look to see if you're gonna get exposed. You're 6-0, you're off to a good start. You got the Olympic pedigree under your belt. You got a excellent team behind you, a good support system. Bob believe in you. Sometimes less is more. So that's what I want to say to Keyshawn, man.
you
And
know what else too?
go ahead.
With Keyshawn, I think if he was directing it at strictly his division, it's more fair. You know what I'm saying? Who am I? Speak your piece and market yourself as you will. But you really stand on something when you market to the rest of 135. When you speaking on, 154, like that's landlord. Like you don't have the keys. That man got all the keys. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to put yourself in a position to do so, like you said. So, direct it to your division, direct it towards the Frank Martins. You got the and ain't Michelle Rivera and Frank Martin fighting next weekend?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
man. That's
Yep.
that's it's action over that side, man. Direct it that way, and you'll be able to stand on it a little more. Because like you said, if you directing it at somebody you even never have a chance of crossing paths with, it becomes like uh, you know uh, Bobby Schmurder, and his NBA YoungBoy. We always using references to music. Even
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Schmurder had to say, like, yo, my man had no business speaking on that. That's that generation's thing. I don't know nothing about that. You know what I'm saying? You might mean well standing up for your team. You might mean well, but really sometimes speaking on other people's business is negative vibes, even if you think you're putting out positive vibes on it. Just kind of, like you said, less is more, right?
Yeah, and word selection. You can go hard at somebody, but once you start talking that female dog energy, use that B word, man. That's, you know what I'm saying, you get your teeth knocked down your throat in most instances, you know what I'm saying? So don't really say anything that you wouldn't say to somebody's face, you know what I'm saying? I try to do that. Like if I wouldn't say it to your face, it ain't gonna come out my mouth. That's just me, you know what I'm saying? But that's just a little lesson for the young pups. You know they're gonna do their thing, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna learn. They gotta go through their level of maturity. Because if you would have caught me when I was in the army, you talking about a whole different animal. You know what I'm saying? Whole it
Absolutely.
take it's levels to the maturity.
The young boys is like pencils, man. They got erasers on them. They ain't get like us pens yet. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be more careful when you write it down.
Good analogy, man. Good analogy. Now we was real excited. I saw that two. You sent me something. You sent me two things. I saw that my man Shushu, you know, his fight got pulled, and I think Jahad Tucker's fight got pulled. You know, but I guess we still got To, we still got Jared Anderson, we still got Tiger Johnson and Xander Zayas that I know of. Does that change your excitement level for the fights, you know, tonight on that, you know, over there on Top Rank?
Honestly, yeah, it does. If I'm being honest, yeah, because I was especially excited to see Jahai. And of course, I wanted to see Mr. Shoo Carrington, Bruce Carrington, that is. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, but you still got Jared Anderson and Jerry Forrest. You still got Keyshawn and Juan Carlos Burgos. And you know, that'll suffice it in the main, you know. So I'm not too disappointed, you know, but you know, and the reasons behind it, I think Jahai came in overweight, and with Shushu, something about his opponent. I don't know what that situation was, but you know, it's a shame there wasn't any replacements available. And it's more of these guys just getting an opportunity, but that give them something to work on in the gym. I know Shushu, I believe, was coming off a injury kind of not too long ago, or he kind of hurt his hand or something like that. So you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's just giving more time to kind of relax. And you know, the card is still good. It's still good. Hey, 5 second rule. You know what I'm saying? I know. Listen, I keep my floors clean, so if I drop it, I'll play 5 second rule. You know what I'm saying? It's a 5 second rule still on this card. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. And I want to speak to something, man, like the weight thing, man. That's what I was, because I was searching for the reason. The reason I seen weight. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
just a testimony to where you got to stay ready. You
It's about
have
three
to stay
pounds too,
focused,
man.
huh?
I think it's about 3 pounds. I don't want to
Yeah, like
misquote it, but it was
yeah, that's
pretty
like
high.
3 pounds. That's like 3 pounds, man. That's like almost like, you know. I think Shakur, he didn't even attempt. I think the last time, but it just says, man, hey, young fighters, stay ready. You know, you might miss an opportunity. You know, I don't know how that affects the payday and all that. I think there is no payday. I'm not sure. You know, but you know, you can mess up the bag. Everybody's concerned about the bag, and then it's an opportunity where you could have put your skills on display, got more experience, got the rounds in, you know, and then put on a statement and garner more eyeballs. So let that be a lesson to everybody, you know, out there. You gotta make weight, you know, stay disciplined. And
Let me ask you right quick though. Do you think with the Jahai Tucker, you think it might have been because remember, like I said, these guys are young, but it's hard to stay at them lower weights. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when your body just kind of fill out naturally the way it does, because 3 pounds is a lot, and I don't think it is a matter of discipline. I think he might have put on a little bit of muscle mass that he can't shake, and you know, something that at this point he might have to look at, you know, moving differently.
he's a 35, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think that and you might know better than me, but I think that a lot of the people when they come into the game, they drop a little bit lower than where they should be because you know being built at 35 versus even though it's just 5 pounds, we always say it's just 5 pounds, but being built at 35 versus being built at 40, totally different ball game. Because you might get
absolutely.
somebody that might dust everybody off a potential opponent at 40 that might dust everybody off down at 35 if you're on the right night. So it's just one of them things where when you're going in and you decide, okay, where I'm going to campaign at, because originally I think Earl's first fight was up at 54 and then he dropped down to 47. But he had dropped all the way down to what, like 130, you know, and
One
you know, so
135. He was killing at
135.
135.
Yeah, like basically draining and killing, having to, not eat and all that, so got to be cautious about, especially with the age. Like, you know, some of the late bloomers whose already bodies already kind of like settled in, they can kind of afford to just go ahead and go into a weight class. But the young growing people, because I think that's what happened with Devin. I think Devin just got stuck because I don't really think he should have had any business down there, but he campaigned there. He had so much at stake. He invested himself down there, so he pretty much had to stay. And so now it's like he gotta go, but he still got a little bit of business that he want to handle. So it's something to consider when you first come in the game. With what true weight you should campaign at, you know, and how low do you want to go below that? Do you want to just take your time even more at your right, you know, give yourself some wiggle room so you don't have to cut that much, and give yourself some wiggle room so that your body and your bones can harden and grow? You know, just something to think about.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But yeah, man, I mean, that was the only thing that really like kind of like stuck out to me. I don't know about the anything else on the zone card. I mean, we covered Top Rank, we covered Keyshawn. T.O., you looking for T.O. to put on a statement tonight?
He's going to have to put on a statement, in my opinion. And that statement is going to be that he has reserve, that he's composed, and that he's conscious of what he's doing. Meaning, he not just doing reactions. He not trying to be Tyson Fury-esque. Sometimes I see T.O. and I don't know who he is. Like, I see a good dude. I see a good fighter, but I don't really know who Teofimo Lopez is. He don't look like the same kid. And it's funny, it's his weekend. It's his Heisman weekend. And he went at stealing that weekend and that whole thing. But I don't know. I feel like his identity is kind of missing from that. I don't see that same happy-go-lucky kid. And I think, a happy fighter is a dangerous fighter, and Tio needs to find a way to get happy.
Yeah,
The whole aggressive Tio, that ain't Tio. Happy Tio's happy Tio. When he was dancing and, you know what I'm saying,
yeah.
backflips and doing all that,
Mhm.
that's the Tio. A happy fighter is a dangerous fighter, Tio. Get happy, man. Come on, partner. Get happy.
Yeah, and what I want to see is, you know, that's a good thing. I don't who what is T.O.'s identity? You know, that's a good thing. We all know that you know, pretty much I think it's the right hand. You know, everybody knows about that right hand. You know, he's walking around like them little crabs that be on the beach with that big ass right hand that'll boop. We knew that at one point in time, and then you know, it was the game plan that he came in with Cambosis. And then we saw Devin, you know, we saw what Devin did to Cambosis. So you know, we also saw him and what he was able to do with Lomachenko. So for me, you know, my key for T.O. is I want to see some boxing. You know what I'm saying? I want to see him be patient, but then be opportunistic when he needs to. And I also want to see in the later rounds if he's going to show up, because I think that was the main thing that made that you know, speaking to championship round, that was the thing that lost him. He disappeared and Cambosis showed up in the championship rounds in the 11th and
Yeah.
12th. Cambosis. So I just want to see him be patient but be opportunistic, and I want to also gauge Senior. I want to gauge, you know, how Senior is going to do, what kind of counsel, you know, because you know right now everybody's going to be up your butt with a flashlight looking at you with a magnifying glass. So I want to see Senior as well. I think they're going to get the job done, but it's no small feat, you know. So that's what I'm looking for T.O.
Hey, before we get out of here, Jerry Forrest and Jared Anderson, that's the co-support for this one. We've been talking about Jared Anderson, talking about Fat Wardley, talking about these guys, man. People got Jared Anderson. The line is Jared Anderson on a stoppage. I'm thinking Jerry Forrest survives this fight and makes it a little bit difficult. And I'm not saying that to detract away from Jared Anderson. Forrest is for Jared Anderson. But I ain't get your opinion much on this one. How you think this one turns out?
I think Big Baby, I think he ready, man. I think he could be fighting more often. I think he ready. I don't really see he's, you know, even though I don't put as much in everybody who can switch hit, but the fact that he can switch hit and he's cerebral, he's a thinker, you know what I'm saying? He uses strategy, and I just, you know, I look for him to keep, you know, stopping people. So I'm looking for a stoppage. But if you feel like that man can go the distance, if he can get some rounds in and be opportunistic and get it done later on, so you just can get some work, that'll be good. But I want big. I see bigger and better things for Big Baby, and I think that I don't want to rush him, but I'm ready to see him with some of the big boys. I mean, it's time. It's like how long? Because he say he ain't gonna stick around that long. He's a smart guy. He say, look, I ain't gonna be in here. I'm gonna get in and get out. I'm gonna do what I need to do, kick up my dust, win what I need to win, and I'm out of there. So I'm looking for him
Take
to
his
make a
buddy back to
statement.
Ohio.
Yeah. So yeah.
But this is what I want to see from Big Baby. I want to know, similar to what we saw with Fab Worley.
Hmm.
I want to know that when he can't get a guy out of there, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna keep over? We haven't seen this from him, but this is why I like Jerry Force as an opponent. Are you gonna keep trying for the home run punch and gas out, or are you gonna continue to be methodical and set up your punches and pick your opponent apart to where you overwhelm them, to where you get a referee stoppage even? You know what I'm saying? I'm looking for his temperament, not just and I don't see him as such, but I don't want a young fighter with his talent to get drunk off power. I want him to develop it. And Jerry Forrest is the kind of guy, thankfully, he ain't coming in to get knocked out. He ain't coming in to drink nobody's juice. Pause. You know what I'm saying? So he like, yo, I ain't getting knocked out by this young dude. Like, you know what I mean? So it's gonna be a good fight to see how Anderson responds to somebody that is gonna be able to do more than survive and try to get up out of there and maybe he ain't gonna try to play into Big Baby's game. He's gonna try to outthink the younger, stronger, faster, hungrier. Just not as experienced, right?
Right.
Heavyweight. So that one we're gonna talk about that one too on the aftermath. We're gonna keep that one in the back of our minds.
So you would say Top Rank actually matched him well. You would say this is
Very,
a good step up, a good
very,
yeah.
very well. Very
Yeah.
well. I think Jerry Forrest is a very good opponent for Jared Anderson because again, you get a lot of guys in there. Some of the guys he's been in there with has been, different degrees of big men and different degrees of durability. He
Right.
hasn't been in there with a guy that's, sometimes you need a journeyman. You need a good
Yeah.
journeyman to be in there with, and that, like I said, a guy that's gonna survive and try to trick you and trip you up. He know he being brought in there as an opponent, but he sure as hell ain't coming in there to be knocked out. He's still trying to win, and a win for him is surviving. Is looking good. A sparring partner, but also a guy that's if you bring him in there against a young guy, somebody that don't have it together, boxing IQ wise, that don't keep they focus the entire fight. Jerry Forrest will upset the apple cart. Yo, they robbed him against Michael Hunter. He's still trying to get that back off Michael Hunter. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So he
Like
he fought to a draw against Zilly Zang Bang. He got robbed in that Michael Hunter joint. You know what I'm saying? I think his last time out, one of them fights, he didn't do so well. But again, he's a good opponent. He's not a tomato can. He's not a bum. None of those words should be used to describe Newport News' own Jerry Forrest.
yeah, the name Gabe Rosado. Name Gabe Rosado is like it comes to mind. I don't know about now, but like that's the kind when I think journeyman because it's two different kind. It's the one that you in there pretty much to see if this guy can get you out of there. But then you got the ones like a Gabe Rosado, a battle tested who remember what he did to Beck the Bully. Bop!
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? That man was sleep. Yeah, man hit his face. So that's the kind of caliber of guy that I'm thinking about when you describing Forrest. So yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I'm happy for Top Rank in the matchup. Should be a good one. But thanks for coming on, man. Thanks for joining. Like the energy. I know you're gonna be tuned in, and I'm sure we're gonna chop it up afterwards, and we're gonna go back and forth like we always do when the fight's going on with the highlights and everything. Anything you want to say before you get out of here?
Hey, thanks for having me, man. As always, man, this is what we do. We build them brick by brick, these boxing minds. Everybody out there, please be sure to tune in. BodyWork Boxing, tune into the championship rounds, King Amin of Essex, and let me know what y'all think. Let us know in the comments, man. This women's fight, women's boxing. Yo, y'all think Ebony Bridges, Shannon O'Connell. Tell me what y'all think about Big Baby, right? Tell me what y'all think about these young boys that's on that Keyshawn. Is he doing too much, or is he doing enough in the ring? And that's all that matters. Let us know out here, man.
You want to shout out your social medias for
Oh,
the people?
absolutely. King Amin Investix 1 on Instagram and King Amin Investix 1 on Twitter. Get at me, ladies and gentlemen. We out here.
There you go, man. That was King Amin in the championship rounds. It's Mike Rogers, you know what I'm saying, here at BodyWork Boxing, where we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.